Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Travis Locker. I'm the head of school, and just appreciate you taking the time out to come to campus in the evening. We'll also be live streaming too, so thank you for joining us if you're part of that. Let me open up in a word of prayer. Lord, we're thankful for the school. We're thankful for an opportunity to be a part of the extracurricular programs, particularly athletics, knowing that you have created us, both mind, body, and soul, that when all those things work in unison, that it's a way that you designed us, and that we would use these instruments to your glory. Just pray for this evening to be informative and helpful in resetting and setting and resetting the expectations for this upcoming year for athletic programs. You'd watch over athletes and coaches, that they would be safe, perform well, but in all things would represent you in all things. We ask this in your name. Amen. Being part of a school like this is a wonderful opportunity. Because of the size of the school, we have students who are able to be athletes and also high achieving in academics and theater, art, music, all these things. Being part of a classical education, we actually really want that Renaissance man or woman feel, that they should be well-rounded in all things. So this school really pursues something called virtue, and virtue is something that we pursue with excellence. So when we pursue something, we're pursuing it with excellence, and our athletic program is one program that we want to pursue with excellence. But with that, we do it within the community, within the confines of our school. So we want to just reset the expectations for you as families, for the athletes, what that looks like here at Annapolis Christian Academy, that we really value students being involved in things above and beyond the school. We think it enhances their education, but more than that, it gives them a chance to, in a real world way, apply the things that we're teaching them in school. A classroom teacher can only do so much when we're talking about discipline and hard work. There's nothing like being out on the football field to really see where they are in that journey, or out in the volleyball court, or running the cross-country meet. That's when really the crucible of time, effort, energy comes together, and you get to see that. And the coaches then are the ones that are there to pick them up or disciple them or to encourage them, and it's really where we see the full formation happening. So we really highly encourage athletic participation, and we're so thankful to have our coaches that spend so much time here under the leadership of our awesome athletic director, Virginia Dempsey, and so I'll welcome her to the stage. So, Virginia. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Virginia. I'm your athletic director, and let me just pick this up a little bit. Okay. So we're going to go to the first slide here. Let's see. We've got pictures. Okay. So first of all, I do want to talk about a little bit just our sports program in general. We offer sports from 3rd grade all the way through 12th grade. So we have grammar sports, which is grades 3, 4, 5, and 6. Junior high sports or logic, which is grades 7 and 8. And then our high school sports is grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. In high school, we have varsity, junior varsity, and freshman, depending on the sport, depending on the participation. And in junior high, we usually will run a 7th grade team and an 8th grade team. Sometimes our 6th graders play up. And in grammar, we run 3rd grade teams, 4th grade teams, 5th grade, 6th grade, depending on the sport, depending on the participation. So that's kind of what that looks like. What's the next slide? Let's see. Yeah, okay. There's a picture of me and Hayden. So I'm your athletic director. I'm gonna just go through, last year I did this, it was my first year, and I forgot some coaches, so I made sure to make a slide presentation that had all the coaches on here, so I didn't forget any of them. So, we forgot Coach Harper. And so my right-hand go-to man is Hayden. He's assistant athletic director. He does everything social media. He posts our stuff on social. Any kind of like slideshows, things like that, that's Hayden. He does a lot of our scheduling, so anything that I don't usually do, it's usually Coach Hayden. He also is on staff here full-time. And then next slide. And then our head basketball coach is Coach Harper. Raise your hand, Coach Harper. Yes, Coach Harper. And our head football coach is Coach Andy. He's not here. He actually had to go to work, but he just finished practice. And we have our high school volleyball head coach is Coach Sally, right here. And our head girls basketball coach is Coach Gray. He's back there in the red shirt. So I put pictures up here so y'all can see their faces and know who they are, so you can go ahead and meet them after this is over. And our coaching staff is, we have Coach Andy. He also does track and field in addition to football. And we also have Coach Abby. Yeah, Coach Abby's up there. She is our junior high volleyball coach, and she also is our grammar volleyball coach, and also assists at the high school level. So she's all things volleyball. She's also was just hired this year to be our grammar PE coach. So we're happy to have her on staff. And Coach Gray also helps with the junior high football team, and Coach Harper is also coming on for our cross country team. And also, if we have any interest in cross country, come talk to us after this, because we're running light on that program this year, so we need some runners. So if you want to do cross country, come talk to Coach Harper after we're done. Next slide. Okay, so we're a little bit about our program. We are in the TCAL, Texas Christian Athletic League, so all of our games for our high school level and varsity are played under that league. And for junior high this year, our boys went and played in the state tournament and got first, so we're super proud of them. Claps. And our track and field, our boys got first also, and our girls went to back-to-back years, and we went to state and we got first as well for that team. So we're super excited about those programs. They're really, really growing. And go ahead, next slide. And next, on our athletics mission, to glorify God and develop our athletes to be disciples, leaders, and warriors for Christ. So that is our mission statement for athletics. I'm going to let Coach Hayden come up here and talk a little bit about what that means in our athletics culture.
Oh, there we go. All right. So like Coach Dempsey said, my name is Coach Hayden Wickward. This is my 10th year at Annapolis. I got to be on the basketball team under Coach Harper for a few years before I started working here. This is my 6th year working, and my 2nd year as assistant AD, and I've loved it so far. Like we talked about, we haven't really had like a total mission statement and culture. So Coach Dempsey and I were talking, and we wanted to really nail something down to where we can define what our athletics program is all about. And so like she said, it is to glorify God and develop our athletes to be disciples, leaders, and warriors for Christ. And so what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, our culture is, we discussed 7 different things that we want to really preach and build our program around, and we feel like if we're doing these things, we will be successful as an athletic program. So first off it's kind of our slogan. We've had, we fear only God and put him at the center of everything we do. Secondly, we develop our athletes spiritually, mentally, and physically to help them reach their full potential. Third, we strive for competitive excellence. We give our best because Christ gave his best. And I know sometimes as Christians we love, it was funny, a funny story is coaching basketball last year, I had Will Kenyon in the middle of the game, one of the teammates falls down on the other team, and we're going for a fast break, and all the parents are like, go, go, go. And this guy stops over and helps the other team up while the play's going on. So we love showing Christ in all that we do. And so sometimes it can be hard to forget that we also want to compete. Tim Tebow is probably the best, just spokesperson for, following Jesus in sports, right? And so he had this quote. He said, "On the field, I'm trying to play for the glory of God, but then also I'm trying to give everything I have to win and to compete." And he said that with the heart of, we want to be the best that we can because God gave his best, right? So we want to compete with excellence in all that we do. But at the same time, our main goal, obviously, is fearing only God and representing Christ. Next, we teach biblical principles to our athletes that our athletes can apply to all aspects of life. Coach Harper and a lot of our coaching staff has preached this a lot. I remember a couple times this year, he always says that it's not just about basketball, this is about life. Like, we teach our students things and our athletes things that they can use for their entire lives. Like, if you don't want to go to practice and wake up at 6 a.m., I know some of our volleyball girls are still yawning from practice today, but sometimes we don't want to go to practice, or sometimes we don't want to do that extra mile or do that extra exercise. But Coach Harper reminded our basketball team last year that if you do that in life, if you just don't show up, you can get fired, right? You can, it's not going to go well. And so this is really building us up for not just the sports that they're playing, but for life as well. Next, we provide a culture of joy for our athletes to learn and grow. And we really prioritize building relationships with our students and our coaching staff. We think that's really important, that it can just be a culture where they feel welcomed and they feel invited in. Second to last, we provide opportunities for our athletes to represent Annapolis and Christ at the highest level. And that goes within discipling, right? Our school goes and plays a lot of away games, and we travel throughout the coastal bend, sometimes a little further up to San Antonio, and sometimes we play schools who, we'll say, do not represent Christ in all they do. And so it's a really great reminder that when we go out, we are playing for Annapolis, but we're also playing for Christ. And so we really want to encourage our athletes to show him in everything we do, so that we're showing other schools like, oh, they're a little bit different in the sense of how they do things, and it's that we're representing Christ. And then finally, we teach what it means to be a warrior, and that is to be part of a team, to be servant leaders, and how to overcome adversity. There's been so many times where I've gotten kids for junior high basketball, I see a couple out there tonight, that had no idea how to play the sport. They're like, I don't know what I'm doing, coach, but I'm here. And that's exactly who we want. We want people who are coachable, who are teachable, but that we can mold and transform into warriors. Not just on the athletic side, but to be servant leaders and how to overcome adversity. Like we talked about earlier, like you're gonna go through things in sports that really can be translated to life. Like you go through heartbreaking losses, you go through days where you're tired, and you go through tough times where maybe you're not having the best day with one of your teammates, and you've got to learn how to navigate those things with coworkers in the future or with your future family, and how to navigate those problems and navigate those adversities in life. And I think sports at Annapolis just does such a great job, and our coaching staff as well. Can we give it up one more time for our coaching staff? Like, if y'all don't know, sometimes you get to see the coach that's part of the sport your kid plays, but you don't see the whole staff, and that's kind of why we wanted to have this as well, so you can meet all of our coaches. Just know that their hearts are in the right place. They are here to, again, I want to go over the mission one more time. They're here to help us glorify God, to develop our athletes to become disciples, leaders, and warriors for Christ. And that's what it's all about. We're pushing them to be excellent. We want to win state championships. We want to do the best we can. But this is why our coaches do what they do. And they all have the right heart. And we're just so blessed to have such an amazing coaching staff. And yeah, so that wraps it up for our culture. And I'll turn it back over to Coach Dempsey to talk about some of our expectations.
Okay, so our expectations at the grammar level are we are teaching them the basic skills of the sport, whatever that sport is. For grammar, it's volleyball, basketball, so we're teaching them basically the basic fundamentals of the sport. We give them playing time based on whatever that level is, and so they are guaranteed some sort of playing time at the grammar level from 3rd grade all the way through 6th grade. We also, as coaches and as parents, we want to give them a little bit of responsibility in playing a sport. So we reiterate and we encourage them, hey, you pack your bag. You're wanting to play the sport. It's not your mom's responsibility to pack your things. You pack your snack, you pack your bag, you come to practice, you give your all. And so we're doing those things to teach them as they get older, that we're giving them more responsibility as they get to junior high, as they get to high school, that they are gonna have more responsibilities as they get older. So it's kind of starting with that as a general learning from the very beginning, and as they get older, as they go to high school, or junior high, I should say, for grammar, that commitment is about a 3-day-week commitment, including games and practices. So if they have one game for the grammar level, then they would have 2 practices that day. If they have 2 games, they might have 1 practice. So we try to limit that, max that out at the grammar level of 3 days a week of commitment. At the junior high level, we go into a 4-day-week commitment. So if they have 2 basketball games, they might have 2 practices. If they have 1 basketball game, they might have 3 practices. So just try to limit that to 4 when they get to junior high. Also, pulling back a little bit of that guaranteed playing time and having them earn that playing time more so, because they are in 7th grade, they are in 8th grade, they are playing at a more advanced level than grammar. So it's not so much we're giving you playing time, they're having to earn it. And then when they get to high school, and they get on those freshman JV and varsity teams, that is earned playing time, and those commitments look anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week. For football, obviously, we always have 1 football game during the week, but for volleyball, basketball, track, they might have 2 meets, and during the week they might have two games or some tournaments. And so we do sometimes have practices on Saturdays, have games on Saturdays, games on Fridays, and so that's obviously a varsity sport, a high school sport, so we expect more out of them and a time commitment. And I say we give commitment because that's not just your athlete playing, it is a family commitment because mom and dad have to take them to practice, have to pick them up, have to get them to team dinners, have to take them to wherever the meet is. And so it encompasses the entire family, not just the athlete by themselves. So that's why we always try to give what the commitments are for those levels. Let's see. There's our football team. And so for fan conduct, so this is my favorite thing to talk about, fan conduct. So when we send our athletes out to play or to compete at other schools, we hold them to a very high standard when they're playing, when they're speaking to referees, when they're speaking to other coaches. And so when we hold our athletes at a high standard, we also expect our parents to also abide by those expectations as well. So my hope is that when we go to play at other schools or we have home games, that we are treating our visitors that come into our gym or our field with respect and with love and showing Christ in what we do and being a light and being able to go to a tournament or a game, whether it be a public school or another private school, and leave and have them tell us, wow, your school really, it can tell a difference in how your athletes behave and how your parents are toward us. And so that's something that we really, really reiterate when we travel, especially when we travel because games are emotional, we get a little bit excited, we kind of get in our feelings about the score or the referee or the officials, and so we always want to try to remember that we are representing Christ when we go out to a school and we play, and that our encouragement and our cheering should always be positive. And so that's something that I always try. I don't want to have to do any damage control on Monday morning when I come home from a tournament. So I ask that we just always have good, positive encouragement to our athletes, to our coaches, to the other team's coaches, and to the officials, because officials are a big part in what we do, and a lot of us have relationships. I have a lot of relationships, personal relationships with these referees, so I know them personally, and so but they're always very, very much impressed with our behavior of our fans and our athletes, so that's always good. Grade checks. Okay, so for grade checks, we work off of a 70 or above playing in order to play. So in all sports, including grammar, so once you start playing an after-school sport, I will check grades from grammar through 12th grade 2 times a term. And so whether you're in any sport, doesn't matter where the sport falls in the season or on the calendar, I check grades at the same time for all the sports. So that is going to be 4 times, so I check twice. A term is about 8 to 9 weeks. I check 4 weeks in, and we're looking at a grade of 69.4 below. 69.5, we will round up. So basically a 70, you have to have a 70 to play. At 4 weeks in, I look at your grades. If you're below a 70 in math, then you would sit out for a week for that particular subject. After a week, I check again. Once you're passing with a 70 or above, then you're able to play. I do that again at the report card grade. So we do 4 weeks in and then the report card. So that's 2 times the term. At the report card grade, when I check, I will do the same thing. You have to be passing, basically all of your report card grades must be a 70 or above. If you have something below a 70, you would sit out for 2 weeks. And so the first grade check of the term, 1 week. The second grade check is 2 weeks. A little bit just to clarify on some things, if you, for example, let's say you have literature and mathematics, and in literature you are failing and you were not failing in mathematics, and when I check your grade again, let's say you're passing that class you're failing, but you're failing the other class, I'm not worried about that grade. I'm worried about the grade that was failing. That's always kind of a question when I grade check. So I'm always just checking and looking at the grade that was failing initially. And so it's always easier to come back after a failing grade on a new term because we have fresh grades. Typically by 2 weeks in, everybody's pretty good. So that's how I do. And always our coaches, our communication on group meets, our communication with myself is pretty good with knowing when your grade checks are. So it's never a surprise. The athletes are always told by their coaches, this is grade checks are coming up. The teachers know grade checks are coming up. I communicate with the teachers that the grade checks are coming, so it's never a surprise. So if they tell you, we didn't know, they knew, they just didn't communicate that to you. Let's see, also for parent volunteers. So I like to talk a little bit about parent volunteers because it is so important. I cannot run this program and we cannot coach without parent volunteers. It is very difficult to have a volleyball game if I have no one to do the book and to do the clock and to do lines and to do concessions and to do gate. I love having home games because they are so much easier for us to attend, and we have a beautiful gym and we have a beautiful field, so it's amazing that we have these facilities to be able to have these games and host them, but it takes a lot of work for me to host one game. So it takes a lot of manpower, and a football game takes a lot of dads help me do things, which I so appreciate. These hours that you volunteer for do go toward your hours for the school, and so make sure that we're in FACS now, so we can log those in FACS. We weren't able to do that before. We're able to now, and so for football, if you are a football parent, or even if you're not a football parent, and you still want to come watch a football game, and you would love to, you just have it in you to come help volunteer, we have a job for you to do. We can find something for you to do. So just keep that in mind with your volunteer hours. It takes a lot to have tournaments. It takes a lot to have games, and I love hosting games. It's just so much easier. It's so nice to have games here and not to travel somewhere to play these games. But I cannot do it by myself, and we can't do it by ourselves. So we're so appreciative of the parent volunteers that we do get to help. And also, if you don't want to do parent volunteer work, that's fine too. We also have, every team usually has a team mom, and I see one sitting out there. She's amazing, Mrs. Segundo. And we have team moms, and they do everything on the back end, from like arranging breakfasts for our teams, arranging food when we travel, and just keeping our boys and girls fed, and sometimes clothes, because we're traveling and we have to wash clothes and all that stuff. And so we always have an opportunity for a team mom to help do something. And so if you feel like okay, I'm not really good at doing the scorebook, or I don't want to do lines for the volleyball game, and you still want to have you still have time to volunteer and want to do something, you can come talk to me. I can find something for you to do. And there's always a team mom job to do. Football's really good. Mrs. Segundo's really good with football because they have their team dinners. She arranges them. Parents will set up a dinner. So and it really does build camaraderie with those boys. Every Thursday before a football game, or depending on when the games are, but every week before a football game, they host a team dinner, and volleyball does that as well. In the mornings, when we have morning practice, we have parents bring in breakfast every morning. So those are things that you can do to help volunteer. If doing the clock and doing the book are not, in your wheelhouse, that's totally fine. Let's see. And we just wanted to reiterate our Run with Endurance quote for our theme for this year. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by so a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Hebrews 12:1. So a couple other things. If you cannot make it to the games, we do live stream. We have a subscription with Huddle, that's HUDL. They have an app online. If you cannot make it to a game, you can always download the app, watch the game. Everything that's, I say home games. All the home games, including our football games, are streamed from our app, from our gym, or from the field. And you can log on, you get a username, password, you log on, and you're able to watch all the games live as they are being played. There is a season subscription. I'm not sure what that is off the top of my head, but you can buy a subscription for just the whole season, or you can buy game by game. I think it's maybe $4 or $5 per game. And so if you're wanting to just watch the 4:30, 7th grade girls volleyball game, you can log on, pay your $4 or $5, which is the same it would be to come to the game and actually pay the gate fee to watch. And so you can log on and it's actually it's a good app, and we've been using them. This is our second year using them. And so that's an opportunity for you to also support us, that we get a portion of that back into the athletics. So if you can't come to the game, you can always log on and watch, and so we appreciate your support in that way also. And there's some of our volleyball girls, basketball girls. So this year, that picture on the right, we took the basketball team to play a district game in San Antonio, and we played on the Spurs court. We took our boys and girls, played Lifegate, I think it was Lifegate, which is a district which is a school in our district that was a district game, and we were able to play in that arena, which was very exciting. And then that evening we went to a Spurs game. And so this year we're going to try to do that again, depending on our schedules and looking at how the calendar falls. So we're either going to work with the Houston Rockets to do that or the San Antonio Spurs. And that's something that when we do that, it is going to be, depending on what schedule we get and what game we get, that's something that a lot of the families will go to with their younger grammar kids also. So that's something that we're looking forward to planning with. Coach Hayden's the one who heads that up, so we're looking to do that this season also. And also, I'm working with Bird Stamps and getting season passes this year we're doing them by season per sport. So for volleyball, for basketball, not so much for football, because there's minimal home games for football, but volleyball and basketball, boys and girls games, from grammar all the way through the 12th grade level, getting passes. And so those will be per sport, so there's going to be different prices per sport depending on how we set it. But I'll have those. If you're interested in those, you can email me or text me or direct message me on GroupMe, but I'll send out some information for that. And we'll have those for sale by Thursday for junior high volleyball. We'll have those out and ready to go. And that is going to be a discounted price for all of the home games in the season, including from grammar all the way through high school. So it's a discounted price. Instead of paying the gate fee every time, you pay your one-time fee for the sports pass, and you're able to get into all the games. So beneficial if you have a family. We do a family pass or an adult pass or a student pass. And then also support us on Instagram and on Facebook. We have Coach Hayden, who does a fantastic job of hosting all of our media stuff on Instagram and social media, and that is a way we get a lot of traction and a lot of exposure is through. So find us on Instagram, find us on Facebook, share our information, share our games, and we're just so excited about this season. This is my second year here, and last year, if y'all were here last year, I was a little bit green with coming into a new program, but I've kind of gotten my feet wet, and so I feel better about this year moving forward. So let me know if you have any questions. Am I forgetting anything? No, coaches, forgetting anything? And also, if you want to help sponsor the athletics program, feel free to contact me. Equipment's expensive. It's very expensive. Interesting story, I was looking at some footballs the other day, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be like $60 for footballs. And I pulled them up, and they're like $110 for one football. And I'm like, oh, well, I need like 9. So football's expensive, volleyball's expensive, everything we do is expensive. We want quality equipment. We want our athletes to be playing with quality equipment and to be playing with good uniforms and to look good and to have a program that is that they want to be a part of, and all of that costs money, and so if you feel like you want to donate, if you feel like there's a specific sport that you want to donate to or a specific program you want to donate to, contact me, and I have no problem making that happen for you guys, and we are much appreciated. We appreciate it so much when we get any type of donation. It doesn't have to, it can be an in-kind donation, it can be monetary, it can be just your service or your time, and we just appreciate all of that. Do we have any questions? No? Some of us are veteran parents, some of us are not. Okay, so our coaches are over here. If you want to meet them afterwards, if you're a new family, for sure, if you're a new family, come meet our coaches, come talk to us, get to know us, and we're so thankful that you came, and we appreciate your time. We know that you're busy and you have a lot going on, so we appreciate you taking the time to come and listen to us ramble about sports because we love it so much. So thank you.